Welcome to the Fantasy Football Prophet podcast, hosted by Craig Phillips and Jeff Torrey. Visit us at fantasyfootballprophet.com. And now your hosts, Craig and Jeff.
Welcome everyone to the Fantasy Football Prophet podcast. I'm Craig Phillips, joined as always by Jeff Torrey, and today we have our mailbag episode. We skipped a week last week, no mailbag last week, but got some good questions this week. Starting to get some more about trades and actually who to start and stuff like that as we get closer to the season. So less about keepers. We don't really get those questions anymore. But we'll keep answering all the questions we got for you guys. Anything you can ask us, we'll definitely answer. Have the mailbag, going all year long probably. I think we might have an episode a week kind of a thing, just for all your questions and everything like that. Before we get into that, make sure you check us out on Twitter. We're at the FF Prophet. Fantasy Football Prophet is our Instagram. fantasyfootballprophet@gmail.com is the website. You can go check out all of our rankings, especially if you have a draft coming up this weekend. And if you have any questions, send us an email, fantasyfootballprophet@gmail.com. All right, Jeff, let's get right into it today. Alex asked us, what are some good running backs to target between rounds 3 and 5? And there's actually some good ones in there. Feels like wide receivers, if you look at ADP, some of these wide receivers are starting to jump up ahead of these mid-tier running backs, which I don't necessarily agree with myself personally. I don't think, if anybody listens to our podcast, I think they know we've been running back heavy. So I think you still go running back, but let's off some of the names here and see who you would be targeting. ADP-wise, let's go 12-team. The first guy, ADP-wise, in a 12-team goes Marshawn Lynch, Christian McCaffrey, Lamar Miller, Isaiah Crowell, then Dalvin Cook, Joe Mixon, those guys right there. Who are you targeting out of that group? Lynch, McCaffrey, Miller, Crowell, Cook, Mixon.
Ooh, well,
that's basically the third round guys right now.
I like them all. I think my number one out of that group would be Crowell.
Yeah.
I think he has very high side. I think he's very safe. I like what he did last year with a very bad Browns team. I don't know if they're going to be that much better, but at the same time, I think he's a very, very good guy to... I would be very, very happy if he was my running back number 2.
Yeah.
But to tell you the truth, every single one of those guys has pretty good value. So
that's not bad. If they're going third round, I like all of those. Even Lamar Miller, right, Jeff? Come on. Even Lamar Miller? I know you're not a Lamar Miller guy, but
he would probably be one of the later ones in that group.
You wouldn't completely hate yourself if you got him in the third. Second, yes. Late end third. You wouldn't be necessarily happy, but if he was the guy left and you need a running back as your second running back, yeah, okay, I can do it.
Oh, absolutely. And like I said, there's always a price where I would take someone. Lamar Miller, not a big fan, but at the same time, at a third round guy, my second running back, I'd be happy with that. I'd be fine.
Looking at this though, ADP wise and the way it's going, I like to go running back obviously first round, but second round it could make me lean wide receiver, unless I get what I think is a very top end running back still there. But it could make me lean wide receiver if these are the guys I can get for my second. I'd feel more comfortable with it maybe than before. It's still, I can't say for sure. I don't like to pin down, you have to do this, because it changes every draft. You don't really know what's going to happen, but I'd look more wide receiver maybe if there's somebody really good in the second round, if you think you can get one of these guys. So
that's true. But, in the second round, you're probably looking at the back end of that top 10 running back.
Yeah.
So, would you rather have a wide receiver?
It depends on what wide receiver, I guess.
And then one of those guys, or would you rather have Fournette and then a little lesser of a wide receiver? I would still go Fournette.
Yeah, me too. It's tough.
Yeah.
We did our listener leagues this past weekend. If any of the people in the league are listening, I did 2 of them. Jeff did 1 of them. I think we both went running back in the first and second round, and people I think expected, and they kind of had an idea what we were going to do. We both went McCoy in one draft and turned it around. It's just, we talk about McCoy all the time. We got the 4th pick, both of us did. So it was how we did it.
I was actually cracking up when just as soon as we were picking McCoy, people were like, "Oh, I can't believe that they picked McCoy."
Yeah. Oh, and if anybody from the listener leagues listen to this one, we will get a podcast about you guys coming up here. Not this week, but coming soon. Probably every week we'll be talking about listener leagues. We got 5 listener leagues out there plus a listener dynasty league. So we will definitely be talking about it. And actually, I just had this idea in my head. We still could do one more draft. There's time. Listener auction league. Hey, if you're listening, auction league, get at me. Maybe tell me if there's enough interest. I might do one. Maybe we'll both be in one.
Oh, you don't want that, Craig.
That'd be interesting. Because another reason, too, I'd like to almost get a feel for an auction redraft. When's the last time we did an actual real auction redraft? We've done auction keepers.
That would be a lot of fun, actually.
So maybe we'll get that going.
Actually, I really like that idea.
I think we have time. Season doesn't start yet.
I say we do a 12 league and a 12-team league. We each have our own.
Yeah. So if you're listening to this, email us. Send us a message on Twitter, Instagram. Maybe we'll do this.
It should be for only the people listening, though.
Yeah.
I feel like we always post it on Instagram.
That's what I'm saying. If you're listening to this and you hear this,
those guys are great as well. But I feel like this one should go out to you guys first.
I think it's a good mix. But if you're definitely just listening to this, get at us. We'll get you. We're going to do an auction league here. We'll talk about it next week. How it went, all that good stuff. Maxwell asks us, is Gronk a better pick now that Edelman is down, and is Amendola possibly worth a late pick? We talked about this a lot yesterday's episode. You actually think this helps Hogan more than probably anything. Gronk, sure. I think Gronk was going to be as good as he's going to be. If he's healthy, he's going to be great. Gronk could pick up a couple extra targets off this, especially maybe the way he plays, but I don't think Gronk is as good as he is. He's still going to get targets no matter what.
Yeah, I feel like he was the number one option in that offense when he was healthy. I don't think that necessarily shifts at all. And Amendola, on that one, maybe he's worth a late flyer, but I would say no. I don't think that's going to improve his numbers enough to where he's viable in any sort of league.
Yep.
So no. And once again, I think Hogan is the one that takes a huge step up, and then maybe some of the more pass catching running backs, Deion Lewis, someone like that might be a little more worthwhile a flyer than an Amendola in my mind.
Yeah, I agree. Next question is, grouping these together, Smith Sam. Could Amendola possibly be worth a late round pick now that Edelman is out for the season?
No.
You see, and this is what the people are thinking. It's Amendola is getting a lot of the talk here. So,
and we did talk about this on the podcast.
Yeah, listen to yesterday's show too. We go into this quite a bit.
I think it's a false equivalence. I think they look at him and they think he's the same type of player as Edelman, but you're not completely wrong at. But at the same time, he was there. I mean, he was healthy. He could have done more in that offense, and he didn't. Good. So I don't see that really shooting him up anywhere.
Danny asks, is it worth it to have two QBs in a 10-man PPR league, especially since I have Andrew Luck and Phillip Rivers? With that, yes. With those two, definitely. Because
you need one if you have Luck.
Yeah, you have to. And I'm never a big 2 QB guy. But there are times and situations where I'm okay with it. If you can get really good value. I don't want you to have a second QB and that second QB to be Andy Dalton or Tyrod Taylor. Those kinds. I don't want that to be my second QB. If you're getting another guy that has potential to be a top guy, sure, that's different. And it also depends on who you're drafting him over. If you're drafting him over, something that actually could be worthwhile, no. But the thing is, I don't like having the second QB. I'm saying this, I do have 2 QBs on our main league.
Well, who are they, though?
Russell Wilson's my top guy, and I picked Stafford. Because I still think, I've talked about this months ago now, Stafford, I feel like if there's a player in the league that could have that leap like Matt Ryan did last year, I think it's Stafford. Well, so I want to see that if that happens. And Wilson, is he going to get hit by the injury bug again? I think he's going to be back to what he used to be. But if he's not, and he looks more like first half Russell Wilson from last year, I need another option. So, and I'm just
Stafford being the highest paid player in the NFL
means he's the best.
Yeah, obviously. So he should make that big jump. Mm-hmm. I get that, and I think it does matter who that number one. So if your starting quarterback is Roethlisberger, say, who has a long history of being hurt and really being excellent at home and kind of mediocre away, then have 2. There's no problem with that. Just know that you're sacrificing having someone else on your bench. So if they're kind of like the same person, or if you're streaming, you almost have to, right? Because you're plan ahead of time. So look farther into the future than just the next week and say, hey, this guy has a string of weeks coming up that would be great to have him. And then, do it that way. But if I have like Brady or someone, I'm not going to keep a second guy unless I just get an absolute steal. Like, I have Cousins or Carr drop in my lap, and then maybe I'd grab them, and you could still trade them. You know what I mean?
Yep. All right. RJG asks, who are some undrafted wide receiver sleepers to pick? He said he went running back heavy. So he's looking to get some of these guys, these later round wide receivers that maybe were drafted, maybe weren't drafted, those kind of guys. One of them, to me, John Brown. He's still being undrafted sometimes. Not all the time. Like, I've seen him undrafted. I've actually picked him up off the waivers just the other week in an Instagram league that I was in. So I did pick him up. I think after that game the other day, he had, 2 touchdowns off 2 catches. It gets a little inflated because of it. If he's still out there on waivers, look for him. And then after you get below that, I mean, I've still seen, Zay Jones isn't getting drafted in every league. He's not. Kevin White, I mean, we talked about him. We don't know if he's going to do anything or not, but he's a guy that could be something there. I mean, there's guys like that. I think Marvin Jones is being drafted in most leagues, but he's so far down there that maybe he's not. He could be Chris Hogan, obviously, with this new news. He's going to be out there in people's waivers. Those are the kind of guys that maybe to look for. If, they could be out there. I don't know your league. I don't know your size, anybody's size of the league, whatever, but those kind of guys could be.
Yeah, I think you really hit on a lot of guys that I would be probably targeting. And especially if you had an IR, stash Mike Williams away, for the second half of the season, maybe he turns into something.
Well, look at John Ross. He's a top 10 pick, and he hasn't done much. He's been hurt, but he's probably going to be out there here. He's a top 10 pick in the NFL draft. He is completely overlooked, like 100% overlooked.
And once again, Marquise Lee. I know he was a sleeper for Craig in the beginning. He's not getting a whole lot of love.
Nope.
He's still hanging around. Tyler Lockett, if he's healthy, he could finally come to be the wide receiver we thought he could have been 2 years ago.
Yep.
The problem with all of these guys is you're not exactly sure what they're going to do, and that's why I do like the ones that Craig brought up a moment ago early on. When you're talking about Marvin Jones, he's going to be somewhat productive, so he's a great pick. And then obviously John Brown, who when healthy looks very, very good. And another one, I think he's picked in most of them, but he's a little bit later. So if Corey Coleman is still around for any reason,
if Corey Coleman's out there, pick him up right now. Yeah. I'm really starting to get on the Corey Coleman bandwagon here, so I like him a lot. All right, next question here is another wide receiver sleeper question, so we'll get right to it. It's Jay Mason asks us, who's the biggest sleeper at wide receiver? So this isn't necessarily undrafted, this is just sleeper. And I have a hard time with the sleeper title, because players who maybe were a sleeper, like they might listen, there might be more of a breakout type guy. No, they're not a sleeper in anyone's mind. Mm-hmm. Devontae Parker's not a sleeper anymore.
No.
In what way? He's completely not. In years past, he probably would have been kind of a sleeper. So maybe, this is a tough one because everyone I just feel is so just known about. Maybe Corey Coleman is that guy in a way because he's still people know him, but no one's really on a huge Corey Coleman thing this year, right? Have you heard? There's a little talk of him, but it's not massive. Yeah, I like him a lot. I've been really turning around on it.
I was just saying, I also never known. I would consider him the wide receiver one. I don't know if it's technically him or Britt.
Yep.
But I've never known a wide receiver one to be a sleeper. But he would be a good.
He's actually ranked behind Britt, but ADP wise, he's not.
Yeah.
He's a 2 spots ahead of Britt. But maybe for me, it's like John Brown, Corey Coleman, like we just talked about. But those are kind of my sleepers. Because other than that, who's really a sleeper? Tyrell Williams? Not really.
Honestly,
Randall Cobb.
Yeah,
can Randall Cobb be a sleeper?
I don't see why not, because he's ranked so low.
Can a guy who is that good at one point be a sleeper? But I still like him. But those are the kind of names. It's tough to say because you can't. I don't consider Devontae Parker's not a sleeper anymore. Willie Snead's not a sleeper anymore. Those kind of guys aren't sleepers.
Actually, what do you think about these two? What do you think about a Taylor Gabriel? I kind of like him as a sleeper. Deeper. I don't know how much he can actually move up from his numbers last year, but I kind of like him. What about
Devin Funchess?
A Will Fuller.
Devin Funchess?
Will Fuller comes out on fire last year, right? I would never going to bring up Funchess' name. We all know that. But
I was never a Fuller fan.
No, but he has a new situation. Sophomore.
I was never a guy with Fuller. Fuller isn't he hurt? What's his deal?
Yeah, I think he's hurt right now.
But so later on in the year comes back, kind of a thing.
Yeah. Well,
how many weeks is he going to be gone? That is interesting though. It is interesting. It was like 2 or 3 months. So he'll be back somewhere, early enough in the season. He will be a pickup once he's back. I guess my hesitation with him always was the boomer bust. He felt like that kind of guy, but he was a rookie, so might not matter. Maybe I'm completely wrong on him.
It seems like he's a one-trick pony, but at the same time, that late,
But a guy like him, Mike Williams, like you said, those are guys to watch later in the year. You don't pick them up now unless you have a good IR and you can stash them. But you just kind of watch and pick them up maybe 2 weeks before they're coming back, not before everyone else realizes it and does that. That's when you pick them up.
I'm trying to figure out if there's any sort of value on the Jets wide receiving crew.
Man,
and the only guy I'm actually looking at is Darius Stewart. So rookie, very fast. If they're trying to figure out who they can actually use,
they're going to try him.
Yeah, and that's where I'm wondering, because I think everyone other than that is
Robbie Anderson. I think we know I don't think he's that much.
Yeah, I don't either. He might be worth playing a few weeks, but other than that, and then obviously Treadwell would be a very interesting one as well. But I don't think he's going to be able to break into that starting lineup.
We even forget about Treadwell when we're talking about this.
Yeah,
we did.
It's also because he's on Minnesota.
All right, RJG again. Another question. He says, "I have Shady, Zeke, Gurley, Dalvin Cook, and Doug Martin. Who should I trade away?" This is a 12-team PPR league. And who should he target? His wide receivers are Tyreek Hill, Jeremy Maclin, Brandon Marshall, Sammy Watkins. Okay, if you're going to make a trade, you're going to look for a receiver. I'm not going to go and say, I don't know team situations and whatever. It's hard to say players to target. You would like a wide receiver. These receivers, Tyreek Hill's good. PPR-wise, he's not as a PPR, amazing PPR guy. Maclin could be decent. Marshall and Sammy Watkins, I don't know. They're okay, but you want one more really probably good guy.
Yeah.
Who though? With those running backs, what I would let's see, Shady, Zeke, Gurley. I don't know how many. You can probably start 2 and play one of the flex. So you can start 3 of these guys. So you're starting Shady, Zeke, and Gurley probably most weeks. And you got Cook and Martin there. That's tough. I don't like trading them away, but. Who would you trade out of those? Would you Cook? You can get the most. I think you can get the most out of Cook you're not really going to lessen your running backs that much because he's your 4th.
Well, my issue with that is
I almost don't want to do it.
Then Doug Martin and Zeke are both suspended early.
That's the problem.
So now you're down to 2 running backs, and the injury happens.
You really can't because of the 2 suspensions.
No. So
you can later on.
This might be a situation where if someone really, really loves Zeke, it might be one of those where you trade him away early. You wash your hands. Yeah, you wash your hands of the issues that could arise because you don't know yet. But other than that, I don't see anyone really trading for Doug Martin right off the bat. But maybe if you package like a Doug Martin with Sammy Watkins or something like that and go after a top-tier wide receiver, you could do something like that. But once again, really what you're doing is looking for teams that have no running backs whatsoever, and then you look at who they have at wide receiver, and basically you go after the team that has the deepest wide receiving core that you possibly can find, and then they'll actually be willing to trade with you. So I think that's more team-oriented, because you're not going to be able to go after someone that has Odell Beckham if they don't need a running back.
What I would do is, you're not doing that now. Wait until at least Doug Martin's back, because I think you have to wait because you don't know what he's going to be, what his situation's going to be when he comes back. So you're not going to get to trade Doug Martin right now for anything, probably. So I think you wait, and if he's good, then you have that extra running back. Maybe I would hold. I think those wide receivers are good enough. You're only starting 2 of them.
Yeah, and that's
probably.
You don't know what Watkins is going to be. You know what I mean? You don't know what Macklin's going to be. And at the same time, if just one of those work out and then you get a big-time waiver pickup, you're fine anway. So I think this is where you hold pat. You go for the first 3 weeks or so, and you figure out what's what, and then you can start trading.
And that's what to do. We'll just wait. One last question. It's Danny again. He's actually asking, this is a start question, so I don't know if we know yet. We still got a little bit here. We still got another week or so.
All right.
It's a 10-team, it's a PPR league. At his flex, who would you start? McFadden, Kareem Hunt, Theo Riddick, or Cameron Meredith? Sorry, Danny. Danny.
Well, obviously,
I feel bad for you.
R.I.P. Meredith.
All right, so it's McFadden, Hunt, Riddick. Yeah, I know it's PPR, but I'm not starting Riddick.
No, it's McFadden or Hunt, right? And both of those are very good options to have.
I don't know.
If it was me, I think as long as I know McFadden is going to get the bulk of the carry, I go behind the tried and true line, which is Dallas, and know that he's going to do well. And then if Hunt blows up, that's okay with me. Now I have another guy, and then perhaps you can even trade McFadden.
Yep, that's exactly what I'm going to do. McFadden is the guy for week 1.
Well, yeah.
To see what the situation is, but you don't know anything about Kareem Hunt yet, what he's actually going to do out there. So, go McFadden for week 1. Sorry about Meredith. You're not the only one.
Heavy heart, guys, heavy heart.
It's not the only one out there. But all right, that's it for the mailbag. We will be back tomorrow. I think we're going to do our final mock draft of the year. See what we're going to do. See how much it's changed for us. So.
Yep. And one last time, remember to email us, hit us up on Twitter or Instagram if you want to be in an auction draft league with me and Craig. Our last one we're going to do this season.
Yeah, that'll be fun. I want to do one of those.
I'm really looking forward.
We've done a lot of snake drafts. We like auction drafts. 1,000 times better. I'm sorry. I've loved doing these snake drafts with the listener leagues. It's been great, but I always feel like I'm stuck in a spot where I can't do this. And guess what? The final mock draft tomorrow is still going to be a snake draft.
I was pulling my hair out when I was going through that snake draft. I was just hitting spots where I was like, "No, I'm either reaching or."
We'll do one more tomorrow.
It was killing me.
I do like auction better, but auction mocks just don't work. So you can't really do one. I mean, if they're crazy, who knows? It's never any draft is the same. So we'll talk to you guys tomorrow.